Life has been a buzz lately. Schedule full of coffee shop meetups, travel, work schedule changes, and even several shopping trips to my favorite local antique store called Reclaim It 127. A non-profit shop where all of the proceeds go to offering support and hands-on training in woodworking, restoration, and other things to local children. My most recent purchase there was this fully restored late 1800s couch, which fits perfectly with the Salvatore House aesthetic of my Victorian home. With the countless events that have been happening lately, cooler fall weather settling into the area and the first hints of color in the trees, I decided to take the afternoon to slow down a bit, get away from town, and go in search of a unique remnant of local lore. The practice of witchcraft and paganism in my area is nothing new. In fact, within a tri-county area including Seneca, Hancock, and Wyandotte, local covens and individuals have been openly practicing nature-based spirituality since the early 90s. Even having annual pagan pride celebrations in parks, wearing pentagram pendants at work like my barista does, or even opening shops right on Main Street under the guise of health and wellness boutiques, until you see the reality of them just past those disarming window displays. There are, in fact, many practicing witches and pagans in Tiffin, but the local historical climax of witchcraft in the area took place just over 2 decades ago in the county just to the south, where it's been noted that all of the major villages in Wyandotte County are arranged in the form of a pentagram, with the county seat located right at its center. Around the turn of the millennium, witchcraft made the newspapers here on a weekly basis, all of which are archived in the heritage room of the main library. But stories of local witchcraft go back much, much further than the turn of the millennium neo-pagan revival, and this is the only place in the entirety of Ohio's storied history where one man was actually convicted and executed for witchcraft. In the shadows of early 19th century Ohio, a powerful tragedy unfolded. A story of power, betrayal, and a final sunrise that would never be witnessed again. Located about 13 miles northeast of Tiffin lies Green Springs, Ohio. Green Springs was founded as Stemtown by Jacob Stem in 1831, who purchased the land from the Seneca Indians and built mills near the natural springs there. It's one of the many small, sleepy villages that pepper the landscape. The area was renamed Green Springs due to the emerald green, mineral-rich water of a large year-round sulfur spring, which attracted tourists and led to the development of spas and hotels in the late 1800s. The spring water was also bottled and sold until the 1930s. This is the largest natural sulfur spring in the world. The area was originally inhabited by the Kaskaskia and Miami nations before the Senecas were granted a reservation here in 1817, which was later relinquished in 1831 as part of the Indian Removal Act. The Senecas of the Sandusky, an Iroquoian descendant band possibly mixed with the blood of several other local tribes, inhabited the rich lands along the Sandusky River. The reservation was established by an 1817 treaty, granting them roughly 40,000 acres in what is now Seneca and Sandusky counties. At the time, there probably weren't more than 400 or 500 members of the whole Seneca tribe, but they were still a proud, fierce people, and they clung tenaciously to the ancient traditions of their forebears. 3 of those traditions were to be interlaced to spin a web of death for one of their chiefs. Tradition number 1 was that the high chiefs of the tribe should forever be the descendants of the great Logan of the Magoas. Tradition number 2 was the belief in and punishment for the practice of witchcraft. The punishment for witchcraft was death. And the third tradition was that in case of a death sentence, the executioner had to be the nearest relative of the condemned. By the mid-1920s, the pressure of Indian removal was mounting as the tribes were being pushed west. Among their leaders was a distinguished man known as Seneca John. Described as straight, square-shouldered, and of noble bearing, he was considered an honest and commanding figure within his people. He wore a fur hat, a broadcloth coat tailored in native style, and ornate silver bands, one around his nose and each ear, plus wide armbands. John had a peerless gift for speaking and was known for having the power to calm any disputes. He was also very popular among his tribe and favored it among the women. His unprecedented popularity would be his greatest strength and his condemnation. Around 1825, 3 chiefs, Coonstick, Steel, and Hoof, left for a 3-year expedition westward, seeking new land and hunting grounds. In their absence, Comstock, the head chief, died. On their return, they discovered that Seneca John had become chief. Feeling jealousy, grief, and suspicion, they accused him of causing his brother's death through witchcraft, charges he strongly denied. Seneca John, standing firm in his innocence, yet knowing the reality of his situation, pleaded only, "Allow me to live until tomorrow morning, that I may see the sunrise once more." His request was granted. John spent the night on the porch of Hard Hickory's lodge, which faced east. As dawn broke, Hard Hickory witnessed Seneca John awake. He removed his head covering, revealing long hair cascading to his shoulders, and gazed at the sunrise, calm and resolute, declaring he was ready to die. Accompanied by Shane, Coonstick, and Steel, Seneca John was led 10 steps from the lodge, where he was forced to kneel. Then Steel struck him in the back of the head with a tomahawk, and John fell to the dirt. Believing him dead, they dragged him behind a tree, only for him to revive from what they had believed had been a fatal blow. This enraged them even more. John, covered in blood, looked up at his brother's face and muttered, "Now, brother, have your revenge." Steel then drew his knife and slit his throat from ear to ear. John was buried the next day near where he fell, with the usual mourning rites. The grave was marked by a small picket enclosure, later removed in 1831, erasing physical memory of the site. Steel was tried for the killing in Sandusky County, but ultimately acquitted. On Ohio Route 19 near Green Springs, a historical marker stands in memory of this once noted chief. Installed in 1921, it commemorates Seneca John's legacy and the tragic events that ended his life. The marker is a mere few yards from where John was killed. This story, recorded by General Henry Brish and detailed in the 19th century county histories, paints a somber portrait of grief, familial conflict, and the harsh traditions that govern justice among the Seneca people. It's also one of the many local tales that, if not recounted, would forever be lost to time. After John's death, his brothers, in their shame, attempted to erase all evidence of what happened before they'd scattered west. In the end, their accusations and what we might call flat-out murder of their brother offer them nothing but the guilt and shame gifted to them by his ghost. This was by far not the only bloody tragedy that happened in the area. Less than 50 years before the execution of Seneca John, another bloody event would happen to the South, one that would forever leave its mark as the single most gruesome death to ever be witnessed in local history. Up next, the story of a man who was captured, tortured, and burned at the stake as part of a long-standing blood feud between white explorers and the local natives.
What do you want from me? Why don't you run from me?